You win at craps by throwing a 7 or 11 on the first toss, or by throwing a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10 on the first toss, and that number is referred to as a point, and subsequently throwing your point before you throw a 7. Find the probability of winning at craps. I'm going to set up the events slightly differently than they are in the book, just to show you an alternative way of solving this problem. So I'm going to define the event A1 to be winning on the first toss. And of course that's by rolling a 7 or 11 on the first toss. Then I'm going to define A4, A5, A6, all the way down to A10 as winning with a 4 point, which is to say there was a 4 tossed on that first toss, and yet somehow you managed to win. A5 will be the event winning with a 5 point all the way down to A10, which is winning with an A point. Now in order to solve this problem, you've got to be familiar with the usual probabilities associated with throwing 2 fair dice. And so here's the results of one of the 2 die, and here are the results associated with the other of the 2. So since all of these are mutually exclusive, we want the probability of winning, and that will be the probability of winning on the first toss plus the probability of winning with a 4 point plus the probability of winning with a 5 point, and then you've got to cover all of the different possible points, and the last one of course here is the probability of winning with a 10 point. Now P of A1, which is winning on the first toss, that corresponds to rolling a 7 or an 11. Well, the probability of rolling a 7, those are these outcomes right here. So that is going to be 6/36. Or you can also win on your first toss by rolling an 11. And that's going to be a 6 and a 5 and a 5 and a 6. So there is the easy one, which is the probability of winning on the first toss. Now I'm not going to do all of these individually, but I will on the next page do the probability of A4 and show you what's involved with computing it. Probability of A4 is the probability of winning on a 4 toss with a 4 point. So what has to happen for you to win on a 4 point? Well, one thing that can happen is you can throw a 4 initially, and then right after that throw another 4. Now where does the 336 come from? That comes from our matrix here on the previous page, and that particular matrix shows that you can either throw a 1 and a 3, or a 2 and a 2, or a 1 and a 1, and those are these 3 right here out of the 36 to get yourself a 4. So that's one way to get a 4. What's another way to win with a 4 point? Well, roll a 4 initially, and then what you want to do is you want to say roll a non-4, non-7. That's what this next probability is. Something other than a 4 and something other than a 7. Well, if you do the counting on that, you'll see the probability of that occurring is 27/36. And then finally on the third toss, if you can roll yourself a 4, you win. It's another way of doing it. What's still another way? You can roll initially to get your 4 point, and then you can have 2 rolls that are non-4, non-7, followed by making your point, that is rolling a 4. And on it goes. So each time you multiply by 2736 an additional time. Well, that is a geometric series. If you're willing to pull out the 336 squared, which appear in each of these terms, you're left with 1 plus 2736 plus 2736 squared plus 2736 cubed, etc. And that right there is a geometric series. And we know for a geometric series, I'll put this down at the bottom, that 1 plus r squared plus ... that is equal to 1 over 1 minus r whenever the absolute value of r is less than 1. So up here we can say that this is 336 squared multiplied by 1 over 1 minus that common ratio, and the common ratio is 2736. Now, this reduces, of course, to 1 minus 2736 is going to be 936 down in the denominator. So that's 36 ninths, or 4. So this is 336 squared times 4. And when you work that out, that will work out to be 3 squared is 9, 9 times 4 is 36, one of the 36 cancels, and you get 1/36. The same type of thinking goes on for calculating P of A5, P of A6, etc. And so finally, to calculate the probability of winning, the last thing we have to do is simply add these up. P of A4, first one was A1, P of A4 plus P of A5, and include all the possible points until you get up to A10. So the first one was the easy one. That one was 8/36. The second one we just calculated as 1/36. The next one, if you do the same type of calculations, is 2/45. And the A6 here is 25 over 396. And it gets symmetric, goes down the same way. 25 over 396 is the probability of A8. The probability of A9 is 2/45. And the probability of A10 is 1/36. So in the end, this turns out to be, once you get common denominators, 244 divided by 495. And if you look at the decimal equivalent there, that is 0.4929. If you make a $1 bet at a game of craps, your expected return will be about 98 cents on that dollar.